Hello everyone, welcome to my game of the day from the last rounds of the qualifier of the Chessable Masters, and this is going to decide which half of the 16 players goes through to the knockout stage and which half slings their hook, goes home in shame. Only joking, not in shame, hopefully with a smile on their face. So this was the pairings for round 11, and we'll have a look at the scores at the end of the video. But the game of the day which I'm picking is a game between two very exciting players, and it was played in round 11, and we had Adhiban with the white pieces. And a little bit about Adhiban: he's been nicknamed the Animal, and he's a ferocious, tactical, optimistic player in the style of Mikhail Tal. He loves attacking, he loves throwing pieces at his opponent's king, and he does it with a smile on his face. Seems he's one of the happiest grandmasters about. And his opponent is the young grandmaster we talked about quite a lot over the last couple of days, Mishra, only 12 years old. Mishra again winning the staring competition there. And let's have a look at the game. So it started off with Adhiban playing e4, and he's quite famous, I'm sure a lot of you are aware, for his 1b3 course that he completed for Chessable. And a lot of the top players are playing this in some times. In actual fact, it's quite funny. In round 15, Aronian played 1b3 against Adhiban, which is kind of the ultimate trolling maneuver. And we get the Sicilian. Now, Adhiban's always up for a battle, and he comes prepared with an open Sicilian d4. And I really think that everyone should try playing the open Sicilian from definitely the white side at least once in their life. Why is that? Because in order to play it well, I think you should play it very sharply, and it teaches you how to attack, how to use your pieces, and how to respect development and think of ideas to get through to your opponent's king. So it's a great opening to play if you want to learn how to attack. Of course, there are many other moves, but after knight takes d4, the most popular Sicilian is still the Nakamura, which Mishra now plays. The knight should come out here first of all to attack the pawn, because now white should defend that pawn and develop. And this stops white putting a pawn on c4, therefore getting kind of this Maroczy bind hold on the center. I've always found that a little bit uncomfortable to play for black if you allow white's pawn there. And now the Nakamura with a6. And if you see my videos previously, I've talked a lot about this. The idea is to start counterplay quite swiftly with b5, b4. It's an extremely sharp opening, quite theoretical. If you play this Nakamura, you really do need to do a lot of homework. That's why I'm saying playing these Sicilians from the white perspective I find easier, because there's less work to do. All you need to do when you play this on the white side is pick one variation and learn it very well. But when you're playing it on the black side, you have to learn every possible variation white can play. So, if you've got the time, brilliant, but it does require hard work. And now bishop c4, Bobby Fischer's favourite move, the bishop coming to its most active square, e6. In the Nakamura e5, it's often a main move, but with the bishop on c4, it's not very good because that bishop is such a strong piece there. So e6, and now bishop e3, and this is one of the really sharp lines that white can play. A very interesting variation. Now, when I played the white side of this position, I would play it with bishop g5, which is quite similar. And the reason I stopped playing this is because the main line, which goes about after bishop e7, bishop b3, you play this move at some point because your bishop is exposed there, for example after b5, queen f3. And again, I used to love playing this system because I'm just bringing all my pieces out quickly. I've got every piece developed, I'm ready to castle. But black has a very solid foundation. And now queen c7, which is a standard move. And now we have a little forcing idea, e5 to try and take the rook. And now bishop b7, the point behind putting the queen here, defending the bishop. We can now take on d6, every move very tactical. Bishop takes d6, my queen is attacked. So queen e3, and things are looking very dangerous now for black if he allows me to play one tactical move. So bishop c5 is correct, trying to stop that knight from moving. Castling queenside, increasing the pressure. Knight c6, and now this position has proven to be okay for black, but there was an amazing move played here by one of the most imaginative chess players in the world, Vichy Ivanchuk, against Sergei Karyakin about 10 years ago. And Vichy played this on his birthday, and he prepared the idea without a computer. And he, not Vichy, sorry, Ivanchuk, what am I saying? Ivanchuk had the white pieces against Sergei Karyakin. Vasily Ivanchuk was playing white on his birthday, and his idea was this unbelievable queen sacrifice. One of the most amazing sacrifices that you can see. And the point being, when the knight gets here, white only has 2 pawns for the piece, but with the rook coming to h1, every white piece is attacking. And the thing with modern chess is, such an idea is a beautiful idea, but you know, as soon as black analyzes this with a computer, black will be able to defend. And this is, I think, best played probably some perpetual check. And we don't want to play for a draw with the white pieces, but still maybe a good surprise weapon. Now the reason I'm showing you this is because of the queen sack, and if we go back to the game, bishop e3 is kind of the modern way of playing this. It seems a little bit more solid defending the knight, but when I say solid, white is still developing every move. Develop. b5, the bishop drops back. Black's got to play bishop e7, trying to get the pieces out. Black has a nice formation, and if black can complete his development and be safe, he's generally doing okay. He can also try to get rid of our bishop in a lot of lines, and he's got more pawns in the centre, one of the advantages of the Sicilian. And now queen f3, the sharpest move, having these ideas of e5, getting ready to castle queenside. So black plays a similar idea to what we just saw, queen c7. And now maybe an interesting idea here is even just the weird a3, a prophylactic move to stop black from ever playing b4. That's something I might investigate. But g4 is the move you want to play, incredibly sharp. And I think Adhiban had prepared this line, probably knowing that if black plays correctly, black is okay, maybe more than okay, but finding these moves over the board, incredibly hard to do. But I must say, big credit to Mishra, who's not expecting this particular variation, and he's getting everything thrown at his king, and he deals with it incredibly well. He plays b4. I think I may even had this position myself with the white pieces. And this is a good active solution. If black starts playing slowly here, white's just going to blow him off the board with this g-pawn coming up. So b4, this active move, seems right. The knight has to go passive, and now bishop b7, hitting e4. When you play the Sicilian as black, you've got to go for counterattacks. You've got to go for sharp play. It's all about not losing tempo, not playing passively. In some other openings, you should play more passively. Like even the French and the Caro, you played more strategic ideas, but not in the Namedyarov. White now comes and guards that pawn, and now another brilliant break from white, d5. Really trying to release in the centre of the board. And this d5 move, if you play the Sicilian, you should really know about this move. This move is key to the Sicilian. It frees up black's position. But now Adhiban, I think, had prepared this position. He should never take here because now black has this freedom in the middle. And the main idea to meet this move is e5, which Adhiban plays. This is often a very thematic pawn sack. The point being, if black takes that one, we want to simply castle. Bishop f4, trapping the queen, is the next idea. You can see the queen is quite bad, and if the queen runs away, we don't care about losing one pawn as white here, because every tempo, black has to be so careful. He's lost 2 tempo, and in a position where white is so well developed, you don't have time to lose tempo. In some positions you can lose tempo. That is like when the position is very blocked and there's loads of slow maneuvering. But in these lines where it's very open, there's lots of white pieces, the black king is in the middle, you can't lose tempo. And after something like g5, and now an excellent move here, knight to f5, we're going to see this in the game, sacking a piece. And you might have seen my Novelty of the Year videos. It's quite similar to that, this idea. Black is in a lot of trouble. He can go a piece up, but he's really, really struggling here, as the computer confirms. So now knight d7 was a good move from Mishra, and here Adhiban plays a fantastically brilliant idea. And you know, you can tell why he's called the goddamn animal. Knight GF5, throw it in there. I mean, what a move. What a great move to see. And black really has to accept this one. If he takes on e5, then knight takes g7 is just strong. The king doesn't really want to come to the center, and if it goes to f8, knight takes e6, check is clearly winning. So you have to take the knight, and now the idea of Adhiban's play is to bust open the center of the board before black can castle. And this is the critical moment of his opening idea. And of course, you know, to find the right solution in such a position is so hard. And Mishra understandably plays knight e5, but I think the critical line here, if this opening occurs again, is to take on e6, which is similar to the game, yet the knight on d7 seems to be superior. And the point being, after knight takes, the queen comes to this very strong square attacking the knight, and if white takes on f5 guarding the knight, then black has knight c5, and he can try to swap some pieces off whilst white is not castled. And this move would not be possible if white was castled, because the bishop takes c5. And I feel that black is doing quite well here, but again, this has to be analysed, this one line, very deeply by any Najdorf player and anyone who wants to play this as white. Now after knight to e5, it's different because we can take on f7, check. Now king takes, queen takes f5, so we have to take with the knight, and now knight e6, queen to e5, we get the same kind of thing, but the knight on f7, it can't come to c5. Why does it want to come to c5? You want to get rid of the knight on e6. This knight on e6 is worth a piece. And this position after knight d6 and now castles queenside, I feel is already very difficult for black. White has this knight, and this knight is worth, this is one of those typical Sicilian sacrifices. You secure a knight on this square with black's king in the middle, and you know, obviously knight c7. If you're thinking about playing knight c7 in this position, you've got totally the wrong idea. You don't want to grab that rook, because black will take it back and you lose your monster of peace. This is all about checkmate. And castles, it now seems really horrendous, this position for black. The point being, you can't take on f5 because of the mini tactic queen takes f5, and you've always got to watch out for tactics in these positions. And then knight g7 check, coming back, winning the queen with a winning position. So Mishra tries this move d4 now, and this is another key position where Adhiban plays bishop to a4, but maybe Adhiban on a better day would have seen a devastating idea here. And the devastating idea in this position is quite similar to that Ivanchuk idea, and it's to give up the queen. Queen takes b7, and the reason it's similar is because you remember in that Ivanchuk idea you had the knight and bishop in the same place. So what you need to do in chess to progress as a player is remember certain concepts, not even the moves, but if you remember the Ivanchuk queen sacrifice, that when the knight gets here with the bishop, you can often give up a lot of material. Maybe this would have been a move that Adhiban had seen. The point being, after this one, the bishop comes to d4. We only have one piece for the queen, but every white piece is playing like that queen sack. Let's just show like one line or a couple of lines here. If the queen, where does the queen go? First of all, it doesn't have many good squares. If it goes here, bishop takes g7. It's a very crafty idea, because after rook g8, we've taken away the f8 square, and knight c7 is actually checkmate. Fantastic. These bishops guarding everything at the moment. And where else can the queen go? Well, if it goes to d6 here in the position, then we can take here, we attack the queen with our rook, and now we can just take the rook here, and we've got plenty of play with our rook coming in and that king stuck in the middle. So it's really just a crushing sacrifice here, just bringing the bishop to d4. So a pity that Adhiban missed that, but let's have a look at the game. Bishop a4 check is, again, quite logical. Knight d7, queen h5 check, forcing g6. And this is an immensely complex position. You know, very hard to work out all the lines, but when you see an attractive queen sack, you know, and you work out some variations, you really got to go for it. And now after bishop d4, we have another key critical variation. And again, this is the kind of opening where if you're going to play this kind of variation, as black, you need to be a good calculator. As white, if you're going to play this, you have to be also a very good calculator. You're choosing to go into immensely strange positions where you have to just number crunch. Computer programs would be absolutely phenomenal in these types of positions. And here we see Mishra now take on h5, which is understandable. You've been under pressure, you want to get rid of the queen. But in actual fact, queen a5 would have been the move to play. And I expect this may even be a draw. The point is, white would love to go pawn takes g6, but you keep the pin on that pawn. And the queen is attacked, so you have to move the queen, and now black can take on a4. The strong white knight there is still very good, and you can win the rook on h8, but after queen takes a2, I mean, when I say this should be a draw, the computer gives us a draw. I've got absolutely no idea why this position is a draw. Don't ask me, it's complete mess. But this is the line that black should have played. At least black's starting some counterplay now with the knight coming in and threatening checkmate. And this is what you need to do. I mean, a lot of time when you're defending, if you can see a way to turn the tables and get some initiative yourself, it's often the right thing to do, even by giving up a rook in the process to not allow your opponent to have all the fun. Let's have a look at the way the game went. Well, pawn takes queen happened, and now white takes the queen, and lots of exchanges, but we see around this point that all of a sudden, after rook g1, we can now do a count. White is a piece down, but there's too many issues here. The knight's on pre, the rook's coming in, and the last mistake now occurs. King f7 was one way to try and fight, trying to get some coordination in the position. Knight takes f5 was a little bit too greedy here, because now when white, it is time for now white to grab some material. The queens are off, we're not going for checkmate, and now after rook g8 check, even though materialistic at the moment black's doing okay, Adhiban finds some brilliant moves, bishop f6 being the first brilliant move. And this has really taken advantage of the problem with black's coordination. White is already a little bit of material up, and now Mishra blunders, allowing rook to f8 check. And we can see in this position, white is an exchange and 2 pawns up, which is an easy win at this level. So very interesting opening there. I love these open Sicilians, and like I say, there's certain openings all of you should play. Like, let's say you're out there, you're watching this, and you've got my Jabava London course, or you play the London system, you play your same setups, maybe the English. I'm not saying go and play this in every game, but just to improve your all-round game and give you another way of looking at the board, this kind of open Sicilian where you play d4 and you really take black on by just moving, developing your pieces every move, developing a bishop, getting the queen out, getting the king castle, attacking. This is the kind of chess which could revolutionize your game. So I highly recommend that you give this a go just for fun and have a little look at it. Don't play it all the time maybe, but just to really get your play up to a different level. So as usual, I'm now going to have a look at this opening on GChess. So if you've had enough now, then please do like and subscribe to my channel. But let's have a look at this opening on GChess. Now I think the key position comes about after bishop e3. So we haven't got any GingerGM courses on this, and the encyclopedia, this is certainly one line we're working on this now, but we wanted to get the right grandmaster to work on this position, being as intense as it is. And if we go to top games, we can see that Leveronian, again it seems to be Aronian popping up, and Sepharaman have been stars in this. Sepharaman, obviously compatriots of Adhiban. Online games, let's see who's played this. Well, it's hard to know how strong these guys are, but we can see someone beat Daniel Narodikshi. Do we have any YouTube videos of this one? Not yet, we'll have to add some in there. Let's just have a look how Aronian beat Ding Liren, because these games are always quite. And this was actually, I remember from one of the events, the Champions Tour events. And let's see. So it went bishop b3, and actually here, maybe this is where I got the a3 idea from. Aronian playing a3, which is very interesting. Because we could, you've got to think for yourself in any opening thing. And the problem with Adhiban's sacrifice was that this b4 idea was strong. And after castles, he just plays h4. I remember this game now. And now he plays h5. Wow. Offering the pawn here, but getting some counterplay. And now he plays f3. And I remember the way he plays this, he just pushes this pawn. And this is a very interesting way to play. g4. Okay, interesting. Now I wonder if we go back to Adhiban's, the way he played it, I'd love to play his sacrifice, but let's go to where he did this sacrifice, and this all seems very critical. Do we have any games here, or is this all new stuff? No games on Lead Chess, none on chess.com, so this seems to be a new and unique position. We can put our engine analysis on here, which is very deep stockfish to give us an idea of the position, but if what I'd be doing now, and again I'm not going to show you all my hard work now, but what I'm going to be doing to improve my chess, I'm going to look at this position very deeply. I'd love to be able to, d5 is the only move I'm scared of. Otherwise I think white will be pushing through, so I'm going to have a look at this sacrifice and just see if it's playable for white, because it's the kind of sacrifice I'd love to play. If it is playable, I'm going to memorize the opening moves and do it. If not, I'm going to go back to this Iranian game, which I've saved here, and I'm going to do a little bit of my own research on a3 and see how I can make that playable. Remember, like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back again with more videos from every day of this Champions Tour.